In the modern world, filled with haste and worries, we often find our minds to be like a stormy sea. The waves of anxiety, stress, and fear constantly crash against the shore, threatening to drown our inner peace. We seek salvation in quick fixes and instant advice, but only end up feeling more exhausted when those efforts fail. But what if I told you that a single, simple story, whispered by ancient Zen masters, could calm the storm in your mind tonight? These aren't just stories. They are spiritual medicine that has transcended thousands of years, handed down by wise teachers who discovered the secret to unshakable stillness. They are maps that guide us through the labyrinth of modern stress, showing us that peace is not an external condition, but a quality of the mind. Put aside all your worries. Settle into a comfortable space, perhaps a cozy armchair or a quiet corner of the room. Take a deep breath. Let your eyes gently close if that feels good, because what you are about to discover are not just stories. They are seeds of wisdom, planted in your soul to blossom into the flower of serenity. Your journey to deep peace begins now. The principle of beginner's mind, the overflowing teacup. In ancient Japan, during the time when the old ways were crumbling and new ideas from the West poured in like a flood, there lived a Zen master named Nanin. This was the Meiji era, beginning in 1868, when Japan opened its doors after centuries of isolation. Emperors were losing power, samurai were laying down their swords, and everything that once seemed permanent was changing like autumn leaves in the wind. Yet, in this chaos, people still sought wisdom. A university professor, his mind buzzing with Western philosophy and scientific theories, came to visit Nanin. He had heard whispers of something called Zen, a way of understanding that went beyond books and lectures. Nanin welcomed him with a gentle smile and began to prepare tea. The professor, unable to contain his excitement, immediately launched into a detailed explanation of his studies, his theories about consciousness, and his interpretations of Eastern philosophy. Words poured from him like water from a broken dam. Nanin listened patiently, nodding occasionally as he lifted the teapot. He slowly poured tea into the professor's cup. The cup filled to the brim, but Nanin kept pouring. The tea spilled over the edges, pooling on the wooden table, and dripping onto the floor. The professor watched in horror. "Master, stop, the cup is overflowing. No more tea can possibly fit." Nanin set down the teapot and looked directly into the professor's eyes. "Like this cup," he said gently, "you are full of your own opinions and theories. How can I show you Zen, unless you first empty your cup?" In that moment, the professor understood something that no university had ever taught him. True learning requires emptiness, not the emptiness of ignorance, but the spaciousness of a mind unburdened by what we think we already know. This is the beginner's mind, Shoshin, in Zen. It means approaching each moment with fresh eyes, free from the weight of our assumptions. Much of our stress comes from an overfull mind. We carry judgments about others, assumptions about a situation, and stories about past failures. Try to empty your cup now. Take a deep breath and let go of a bit of the worry that has clung to you. You will realize that only when we empty our minds can peace find a place to be poured in. The art of letting go, the invisible fear. In a tranquil village in ancient Japan, there lived a Zen master named Hikuin, renowned for his genuinely simple life. Near his small temple was a food store, and the owner's daughter was known throughout the village for her beauty and gentle nature. One day, she was discovered to be pregnant. Her angry parents demanded to know the father's name. Finally, unable to bear the pressure, she whispered a name, Hikuin. Her parents, their faces red with rage, stormed to his temple. "You have disgraced our daughter and brought shame upon our family." Hikuin looked at them with perfect calm. "Is that so?" he said quietly. Those three simple words contained an entire universe of Zen wisdom. No denial, no argument, no explanation, just complete acceptance of what the moment was bringing. When the baby was born, the parents brought the child to Hikuin. His reputation was completely destroyed. Students stopped coming to hear his teachings, and former admirers crossed the street to avoid him. Yet Hikuin showed no distress whatsoever. He took the baby, begged for milk from neighbors, found soft cloths for diapers, and stayed awake through long nights when the infant cried. His devoted care was so complete that some began to whisper that they might have misjudged him. A year passed. The young mother, tormented by guilt at seeing an innocent man suffer for her lie, finally confessed the truth. The real father was a young fisherman. Her parents rushed back to Hakuin, their faces now red with shame instead of anger. They apologized profusely and reached for the child. Hakuin handed the baby over without hesitation. His only words were the same as before. Is that so? In Zen, this is called perfect equanimity. A mind that remains peaceful whether receiving praise or blame, gain or loss. Much of our stress comes from a fear of what others think of us. We fight against criticism. We try to protect our reputation. We crave acceptance. But Hakuin discovered what the Buddha taught. Our suffering comes not from what happens to us, but from our resistance to what happens. When we stop fighting reality, even false accusations are just a passing cloud in the sky of our awareness. Letting go of the need to control, explain, or defend yourself is the most powerful act for achieving peace. Compassion and presence is medicine. Zen master Gudo and the drunkard. In the same period, there lived a wandering Zen master named Gudo, who was a teacher to the emperor himself. Yet despite his high position, he regularly left the palace to live the life of a simple beggar. One rainy night, with his straw sandals disintegrating and his robes soaked, he sought shelter at a humble farmhouse in the village of Takanaka. The woman of the house not only sold him dry sandals but also invited him to spend the night. Inside, Gudo sensed a heavy sadness. The woman told him her husband was a gambler and a drunkard. Gudo simply said, "I will help him." He gave the woman money to buy wine and food. And then he waited. Near midnight, the husband stumbled home, reeking of alcohol and defeat. Gudo calmly invited him to share the wine and fish, and then sat in meditation beside him all night, like a guardian watching over a troubled child. The next morning, the man woke with no memory of the previous evening. Upon seeing Gudo, he turned pale as he realized he had shared a meal with the emperor's own teacher. Shame crashed over him. Gudo looked at him with eyes full of compassion. Everything in this life is impermanent. Life is brief. If you continue gambling and drinking, you will have no time for meaningful things, and your family will continue to suffer. But in this very moment, you can choose a different path. The man wept, seeing his life clearly for the first time. He insisted on following Gudo forever. Gudo gently refused, and a short time later, the man completely changed his life. Zen teaches that true compassion doesn't judge or lecture. It simply offers presence. Much of our stress comes from feeling powerless in the face of other people's problems. We try to fix them, offer advice they don't want, or criticize them for making bad choices. But this story shows that sometimes, the most profound teaching doesn't come from words, but from the radical act of accepting a person exactly as they are. Gudo's non-judgmental presence created a safe space, allowing the man to see the truth about his own life. Try to practice this now. Take a deep breath and bring your full presence to someone you love without any need to offer advice. You will discover that presence itself is a precious medicine. The action of Wu Wei and the dignity of work, the no work, no food rule. In the ancient monasteries of China, there was a Zen master named Baizhang, who established a famous rule: a day without work is a day without food. Even in his 80s, he continued to work alongside his disciples, cleaning the gardens, weeding, and harvesting. The disciples worried about their master's health, so one day, they hid all of his gardening tools. Baizhang immediately realized what had happened, but he did not say a word. He simply returned to his room and refused to eat. One day passed, then two. By the third day, the disciples feared their master would die. They quickly brought the tools back. Baizhang smiled gently, took his tools, and continued his work. He then ate with relish, as if he had been fasting for a long time. He was not angry. He was simply demonstrating a principle of life. This story highlights a deep truth. Peace is not the absence of work, but the presence of mindfulness within work. In the modern world, we often separate work from leisure. We believe that work is the source of stress and that we can only relax when work is over. But Baizhang showed that when you put your soul into every task, from cleaning to cooking, the work itself becomes a form of meditation. It helps you connect with the present moment, freeing your mind from worries about the future and regrets about the past. When you are cleaning your house, try to just clean. Don't think about what you will do tomorrow. When you are cooking, just cook. Don't think about what happened at the office. By practicing the action of Wu Wei, doing without trying, doing with a natural flow. You will turn every task into an opportunity to find peace. The immovable mind, the silent battle. During the Kamakura period in Japan, there was a famous monastery. One day, a learned scholar came to visit and asked to participate in a debate about Buddhist Dharma. The head Zen master of the monastery was tired and asked his simplest student, a one-eyed monk, to take his place, but he instructed that the debate must be held in silence. The scholar agreed. They sat opposite each other. The scholar raised one finger. His meaning was, everything is one. The one-eyed monk raised two fingers. His meaning was, one is the Buddha, two is the Dharma. The scholar raised three fingers. His meaning was, three is the triple gem, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Suddenly, the one-eyed monk clenched his fist and raised it directly at the scholar's face. The scholar immediately stood up, bowed respectfully, and left. The headmaster asked his student, "Why did you do that?" The one-eyed monk indignantly replied, "He was so rude. First, he raised one finger to mock me for having only one eye. I politely raised two fingers to congratulate him on having both eyes. But then he raised three fingers, implying that between the two of us, we only have three eyes in total. I was so angry I was going to punch him." The headmaster looked at him and smiled. "He understood you. The scholar said to you, 'Everything is one.' You replied, 'One is the Buddha, two is the Dharma.' He said, 'Three is the triple gem.' And you showed him that all those concepts are meaningless." This story reveals a profound truth. Much of our stress comes from trying to win in mental battles that we create for ourselves. We try to prove ourselves right, analyze every word, and attach complex meanings to simple things. But the immovable mind does not care about those meanings. It is simply there, in the present moment, seeing things as they are. Try to practice this in your next conversations. Sometimes, the best answer is silence. The most powerful action is compassion. And the most peaceful mind is the mind that does not need to win. Impermanence and the end of fear. Zen Master Hoshin's final roar. Toward the end of his life, Zen Master Hoshin told his disciples that he would pass away in 7 days. The disciples did not believe him, as he was still healthy. But on the 7th day, he called them all together, and asked one of them to write down his final words. "When I came from brilliance, I returned to brilliance." What is this? The disciple finished writing and said, "Master, a death poem should have 4 lines. But this has only 3. Zen Master Hoshin let out a great laugh, like the roar of a conquering lion. "What is this?" And he passed away in that very moment. For most of us, death is the greatest fear, the ultimate end of everything. But for a person who is enlightened, death is just another change in a process of endless transformation. Hoshin was not afraid. His final roar was not a question of confusion, but the ultimate expression of Zen. It points directly to the mystery that lies beneath all experience. What is this? He was asking not just about death, but about the entire inexplicable miracle of existence itself. Our anxiety often originates from the fear of change and loss. We are afraid of losing our youth, our jobs, and the people we love. But this story shows that when we truly understand that impermanence is the nature of all things, fear dissolves. Hoshin did not cling to life. He embraced death as a part of life. And in that act of complete letting go, he found ultimate peace. When you feel afraid about the future, try asking yourself, "What is this?" Look at that fear with curiosity. See impermanence not as a threat, but as a reminder that every moment is a unique gift. And in that acceptance, you will find an unshakable peace, because it does not depend on any conditions. Conclusion. The path back to peace. These stories are not just tales from the past. They are lighthouses that illuminate your path in the present. They show us that suffering is not a destiny, but a habit, and peace is not a rare condition, but our true nature. Beginner's mind. Learn to empty your cup. Each morning, wake up with a fresh mind, unburdened by the worries of yesterday. Letting go. Stop fighting with reality. Let what has happened stay in the past, and let what others think of you stay with them. Acceptance is strength. Presence. Don't just listen. Be truly present. Bring your full attention to the person you are talking to the cup of coffee you are drinking, to the task you are doing. Presence itself is meditation. The action of Wu Wei. Work naturally. Don't try too hard. Don't be too tense. Let your actions follow the flow of life, rather than fighting against it. Impermanence. Embrace change. See death not as an end, but as a transformation. Fear will dissolve when you accept the truth that everything is fleeting. Life will not always be easy. Storms will still come, but with these teachings, you can learn to find peace in the middle of the storm. Not by fighting the wind, but by standing firm in your own truth. Take a deep breath. Feel the stillness. That is not something you are looking for. That is who you are. And you are here, right now.